Asha loved her morning ritual. Every weekday, before the city fully awoke, she would slip into her neighborhood cafe, greeted by the gentle hum of conversation and the comforting aroma of freshly ground coffee. It was a tiny spot with a handful of tables, shelves of well-loved books, and walls adorned with art from local artists. It felt as if each corner held its own little secret, a blend of stories in paint and ink. At 7:30 a.m., she arrived, like clockwork. The barista, Carl, a quiet guy with a warm smile, knew her order: a cappuccino with a dusting of cinnamon and a croissant, flaky and warm. He'd nod when she entered, a shared understanding in their unspoken greeting. Asha would always sit by the window, her favorite spot. She loved watching the city unfold from there. The commuters rushing, the joggers with their headphones in, parents shepherding children off to school. To her, these brief glimpses into others' lives felt like an unfolding book. She would sometimes imagine stories for them, constructing details in her mind as she sipped her coffee. This particular Tuesday, a newcomer sat at the table beside hers. She noticed him as she walked in. A tall man, probably in his late 30s, hunched over a sketchbook with a look of intense concentration. His hand moved fluidly across the page, his eyes darting from the people outside to the paper before him. His coffee sat untouched, steam curling up as he focused on his work. Intrigued, Asha glanced over, catching glimpses of quick, bold strokes. It looked like he was capturing the people walking by, translating fleeting moments into ink. Every now and then, he would pause, biting the end of his pen thoughtfully, then resume with renewed purpose. "Your cappuccino, Asha." Carl's voice brought her back, placing her order gently on the table. She smiled at him, then found her attention drifting back to the artist after a few moments. Their eyes met. He caught her staring, and Asha felt a flush of embarrassment. But he simply smiled and lifted his sketchbook, turning it slightly so she could see. "I think I saw you watching," he said, a light amusement in his voice. "I'm John." She returned his smile, feeling a spark of excitement she hadn't expected. "Asha, your sketches are incredible." "Thank you," he said, lowering the book but still holding her gaze. "I try to capture the feel of things rather than the exact detail." She nodded, understanding. They spent the next hour in light conversation, learning little snippets about each other's lives. He was a freelance illustrator, often working odd hours and finding inspiration in ordinary moments like these. Asha shared a bit about her own work as a business analyst, how she spent most of her days entangling data but found peace in the slower rhythms of early mornings. As they chatted, she noticed something shift in her morning ritual. It was no longer just her and her coffee by the window. There was now another presence, someone who also found magic in the quiet moments of the day. When it was time for her to leave, she felt a hint of reluctance. She stood, gathering her things, and paused to look at him. "Same time tomorrow?" she asked. He grinned, nodding. "Wouldn't miss it." As she walked out, she glanced back, and there he was, watching her with a smile. It was a small change, this chance meeting, but it had added a bit of color to her daily routine. An unexpected brushstroke on the canvas of her life.